I've said this before, and sometimes those are my best runs. Like I love my friends, I love my guys. Sometimes I just need to talk to my mom. And
Yeah.
when I'm running those 5 a.m. mornings, I'm legit like talking out loud to her. Like we're laughing, I'm talking. And if you had a Ring doorbell that could probably pick up my conversation, like, what is this dude doing? Running in the neighborhood, talking out loud. Is he like on drugs? Does he need help? No, I'm just talking to my mom. So when I really need a moment and I'm really down in the dumps, I'm like, all right, guys, I'm not joining tomorrow. And they know for the most part what it is, if that's the case. So with me, that's my way of dealing with it. I'll just run solo. I'll get
Yeah.
to talking out loud. And
Yeah.
and then I'll come back and then I'll usually look at a few pictures of her and text.
Welcome back to Through Their Stride. I'm your host, Sam Sutton, and today I'm joined by Robert Jackson. Robert shared openly about losing his mom a couple of years ago and about the way running has helped him move through grief and sorrow, not by taking that pain away, but by giving him a place to carry it. That honesty is a big part of why I wanted to have him on because this conversation felt personal to me too after losing my mom earlier this year. In this episode, Robert and I talk about running, loss, and what it's like to keep putting one foot in front of the other when life changes you. More than anything, this was a chance for two people who have both lost their moms recently to share a conversation about grief, healing, and the role running can play in both. I'm really grateful for Robert's openness, and I'm grateful we got to have this conversation a couple of days before Mother's Day. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Robert Jackson. Welcome back to Through Their Stride. I'm your host, Sam Sutton, and today I'm joined by Rob Jackson. And this is super exciting because, Rob, I've been following you for quite some time now, and you just got done with Boston. So, congratulations. You got a course PR there?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was exciting. You know, uh this block beginning of the year is kind of hectic. Life was lifing, as I would say. Um I didn't want that pressure of like going for an actual like PR, like big time PR, because at the end of the day when I do that, it's like that's all I'm zoned in on. And
Right.
family took the front seat as it always should. My dad was battling cancer for
Oh,
most of the
man.
block. He beat it, so that was great. But yeah, radiation appointments Monday through Friday. My middle daughter picked up gymnastics like competitively, so we was on the road a lot. I had to schedule long runs differently. And I was just like, this isn't the time to focus 100% like on PRing.
Yeah.
So it was good though, because I was like, I'm not gonna race the spring as far as like I skipped a race here and there, and then I wasn't putting the pressure on myself. And people were like, "You're still training hard though." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, because I'm not burnt out." So I didn't want
Right.
to like not run or work out. I looked at it as well. I'm gonna continue to go through at Boston, but I'm gonna work out like I'm trying to PR. But I'm not gonna put that pressure on me. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like all of us, we're all competitive, and we always want PR. But man, you'll get burnt out real quick if that's always your goal. And
Yeah.
at this time, I was like, I know it's not to flex, but like I know I'm in a better shape than what I was 2 years ago when I ran 2:42. So I was like kind of like pretty much in the bag. I just needed to show up and get to the race start line healthy, and that's what I did. Ran 2:35, knocked off 7 minutes and some change. I was super happy with the day. I was on a very good PR track for a while. The quads just weren't having it, and then I had to bunker down and just finish through at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a beautiful day too. I saw course conditions and I was like, man, I'm jealous of that.
Yeah. So I went to Boston in 2024. That was my third one, and some people may know about that story, but that's the one I had a fever.
Wow.
Um, I ended up going to the med tent afterwards. Had the thermometer story, which is I do not recommend that. So long story short, thermometer wasn't the thermometer I thought I was taking. It was the other end, because it was the more direct way. I never at that point my I was already cramping up too, so it was hard enough to get my tights halfway down for that to happen. So I get made fun of for that a lot, but I have PTSD from that Boston because, you know, uh, I'm in the Midwest, so I'm we're training. Our long runs are like either anywhere from -10 to 30 degrees, and then you run 65 degrees. And that doesn't sound hot, but when you're coming from the temperatures that we're coming from, that sounds super hot. And I just got absolutely cooked, and it was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, the Midwest, like, I don't understand how y'all do it with that, well, like, negative degree temperatures, like, coldest I've run in is probably, like, 20s. I did a 22-mile long run in the, uh, ice this last February when we had
Yeah,
that big ice storm, but I could never do negatives. Like
-15 is the lowest I went. Outside, after that, I'm inside.
yeah. Yeah. Well, cool. I obviously know who you are, and I think a lot of my listeners probably do. But for those who don't, can you kind of give a little bit of a brief summary of who you are, how you got into running, and what your story is?
Yeah, so first and foremost, my name is Robert Jackson. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. Now I live in Fishers, Indiana. But I picked up running late 2021. Uh, so COVID time, pretty much. I had a best friend. Well, he's still my best friend, but I have a best friend that was hounding me to run a marathon. We worked together at the time. He was the VP. I was the head of HR, and we were the two health nuts of the company. But I was more so into lifting. He was more so into running. Uh, so he was scrawny, I was built, and he's like, "Oh, you should run." I was like, "No, I just run a couple miles here and there on the treadmill just before I lift to get the blood going." And then he's like, "No, just run a marathon." I was like, "I've never ran a half marathon." And before that, I've never ran more than like 3 miles outside. It was just like your typical Thanksgiving 5K. And I wasn't blazing the speed or anything. It was just like hey, it was cool to do a 5K on Thanksgiving because that's what people do. So I did a couple of those before, but he talked me into the marathon, and it was a running joke to us. And I was like, "All right, I'll do the marathon if we try to qualify for Boston." And he was like, "Do you even know what Boston is?" He didn't think I knew what it was, but being a sports guy, I knew what it was, but I couldn't tell you anything about it. I just knew it was a marathon, and it was pretty big because it was on TV. Didn't know anything about cutoff times or standards, none of that. And he's like, "All right, you got to run this time." I was like, "Okay, that's cool. We can do that." So 95% of my training for my first marathon was all done on treadmill. I am horrible with directions, and I was new to Fishers while he was already living in Fishers. So, and due to our work schedule, being at work a certain time, we could only meet up on Saturdays to run our long runs together. So Monday through Friday, I was on the treadmill, just, and it's the worst way to train. I was just going up point 0.5 like every 5 minutes, boom, 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 boom. And then we would run our long runs together. And after a couple, he was like, "You're getting too far ahead of me." I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just running." It got to a point where he had to yell out the directions because I am bad. My teammates
Yeah.
do the same thing. I am so bad at direction. But as we get closer to my first race in 2021, he was like, "I think you actually might qualify for Boston." I was like, "Nah." And then he was like, "Yeah." So, and the thing was, I was like, I didn't want to put it on social media or anything like that because it was a big goal. And I was like, people are gonna look at me like I'm stupid. Like, "Rob, you don't run. You play basketball. You play football. Always injured in high school. You're not gonna try. You're not gonna do it." I was like, "All right, cool." I just kept it quiet. And then the first marathon, I ran 2:58 flat. Even I was like, "Holy crap!" I crossed the finish line. I looked at my wife. I said, "I'm never running a marathon again." And as I'm in tears, and I tell you, like a week later, I registered for Boston. And then I got in. So it was a blessing. But that's just that's the story about how I got into my first marathon, where I'm at now. You know, I'm loved and supported by my wife and my three daughters. So I have a really busy schedule. Most of my running is while everybody else is asleep. I make sure the family schedule comes first. The only time that I really run while everybody is up is Tuesday nights because we have like a team practice. That's our speed session. But the wife
Mhm.
is okay with that. I make sure to get that approval. And then on Saturdays, we start while the family's asleep, but obviously they're awake by the time I get back because I have to drive 40 minutes to this location. But it's one of the best spots in Indy to run. It's like if you're a basketball player and you know that one gym that has the best open gym runs, this location in Indiana, Eagle Creek is where it's at. Like you could show up, you got a group of OTQ guys running, or even 220 guys, or even former Olympians. That's where you go. So if you wanna get better, surround yourself with better people. That's where I'm at every Saturday.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, I listened to we were talking offline about the episode that you did with finish lines and milestones, and you had said on there that your early morning runs is like everyone, like most people's coffee in the morning. So, is
Yeah.
running like, do you kind of get like anxious if you don't get that run done in the morning?
Yeah, so with me, like everybody anybody can make excuse. Everybody has excuses, but at the end of the day, if you make it your first thing to do, like whatever you want to do, if you make it your first thing to do, there's really no excuse. Um, and there's really no way that something can take that away from you.
Yeah.
So like if I say, hey, I'm gonna push my run till 10 o'clock, okay, now I have meetings that just popped on the board. Now I can't do 10 o'clock. All right, I'll do it later at 1 o'clock. Well, now I gotta pick up my kid from school. Now I can't run then. And then all right, I'll run at 5. Oh, dinner's due.
Yeah.
Nobody needs me at 5 a.m.
No.
So that's why I'm gonna run at 5 a.m. and I can control that. So
Yeah.
pushing my run off through later in the day, even though sometimes I've had to, or like split up my runs, because sometimes I had to hit the road at like 4 a.m. in the morning and I don't want to run at like 2.
Right.
Uh, it does give me some anxiety throughout the day, but 5 a.m. is my perfect spot for me.
Yeah. No, I find it definitely like when I do my runs at 5 a.m., it's like it's hard to get up and I'm not very good at being consistent with early morning runs. But like when I do get my body out of the bed and get on the road, so I'm like the whole rest of the day I feel so much better because I'm
Yeah.
like the hardest part of my day is out of my way. Like the
Yep.
day that I like the thing that I'm thinking about all day long, it's done. So now I can just like focus on my day and, it also gives me a little
Oh,
more confidence. I go into work and I'm like, yeah, I bet you didn't run 5 miles this morning. I did though, you know?
it's funny because I go into work and they know I'm a runner. So when I go to my plants, I drive early. I hit the road about 6 a.m. Some of my plants are 2 or 3 hours away. Like, oh, how many miles you run this morning? Because they just know I have to run before I go. I usually run about 6 to 8 before I travel because if I run my usual like 13 miles in the morning, my hamstrings get all tight from sitting, and that's led to some sciatic problems and things like that. So I've learned my lesson, trial and error. Uh, and they're like, only 6. I'm like, well, it's usually like 13 to 14, but you guys are messing it up. Just giving them a hard time.
That's funny. That's awesome. And so in your time that you've been running and that you've been improving, what would you say are kind of the biggest things that has led to your progress? What are the things that you take some lessons that you've learned over time that's gotten you to where you are now?
Yeah, what's led to my progress, I would say one, belief in myself. You know,
Mhm.
um, self doubt always creeps in every now and then, but the belief in myself to just want to prove other people wrong. Because when being, I'll say this, living in Indy, uh, being a black long distance runner, it's not common. I have to
Yeah.
tell you, 95% of the time I show up to a race, I'm gonna be the fastest black guy there. That's it. That's all. So in my head, I'm like, oh, I gotta prove that I belong. So when I had my first couple of races, I show up and I'm like, I'm bigger. I'm not out of shape. I'm bigger. I'm like, man, this dude's so skinny. He looks like he's about to cook me. And this guy's got those short shorts on. I got these shorts on. I don't know what I'm doing. Uh, but then the gun goes off and like, boom, I'm right there. So self belief is number one, and then getting a coach, uh, for sure helped me.
Yeah.
Everybody's not coachable. I get that, but my coach has really done a lot for me. He's like, honestly, he's like another dad. He's been there through everything as far as like my family, uh, and like you couldn't. It's hard to describe him because he's just a great guy. He's done a lot. I would say that, and then overall, just listen to my body. That's the big progress because you put on more mileage. You think you can do things that you were doing before you can't do. Um, so listening to my body is number one. That's what's probably led to some of my injuries. I wouldn't say the mileage has led to my injuries. I would say listening to my body. There's a little
Yeah.
difference. 100-mile weeks when I'm listening to my body, I still feel great. 100-mile weeks where I'm not listening to my body, I feel horrible. I
Yeah.
like so instead of I don't always have to hit 100. That's the thing I've learned. It's like last block was okay. If I don't hit 100, it's fine. That 4 miles that I'm short this week, it's not gonna make or break my PR or make me take my race. It
Right.
is what it is. So like I mentioned about the car earlier, driving from work 3 to 4 hours out of town. Like, all right, I would hit my 13 in the morning. Like, that's too much. And then get in the car to come back and hit my double. That's 17 miles. And I've been sitting on my butt for like 6 to 7 hours in the car.
Yeah.
And that's where my sciatic got messed up. So listening to my body has been a major key for me, for sure.
Yeah.
And what was the second part of that question?
Oh, that was you kind of answered it, and I was going to touch on the fact that like listening to your body is so key, and also not getting into like um the comparison game because
Mm,
like I myself I'll see a lot of people running like 120, sometimes mile weeks, and I'm like, man, I've never touched 100. Like I'm like 50 to
yeah.
60 in the peak of my builds, and I'm like. But and then I'm like, "We should" I go to my coach, I'm like, "We should hit 100 this build." And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay."
So the biggest growth, another thing I noticed this last year when I had a big spring, I had a big spring PR, was dropping Strava. Uh, I don't really do Strava. Uh, I will say I post every Saturday. I post my long run on Saturday just because I have people on my case. They want to see, they support me, but they want to see like the work. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I just hide it. I post Saturdays. And if I don't post Saturday, because what happened was I wasn't posting for like 3 weeks. And I'm telling you, it was one day in the later part of that 3 week period where I got hit up like 4 times and people were asking me if I was injured. I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm great. It's like, oh, you haven't posted in 3 weeks. Like, where you see you seeing 100-mile weeks on your chart and now it's zero. I was
Yep.
like, oh no, I'm still alive. So what I do now is I just post my Saturday long runs and people can tell that I'm alive because they're usually a little hot compared to some others, but that's about it. That's the best they get from me. Because
Yeah.
when I'm on Strava, I start comparing myself to other people, things of that nature. And half the people I was comparing myself to, I've had faster times in recently or just about the same amount of time as them. So I don't know why I was comparing myself to begin with. So I put
Right.
myself in a better headspace when I took myself off Strava.
Yeah. No, it's such a good thing. Like, I try not to look at Strava, like, but once a month, and then, like
There you go. That's the move.
yeah. Yeah, like, I look at my own thing because 'cause I'm like, I wanna write my, like, notes 'cause I kinda use Strava as kinda like a journaling thing for my running.
Yeah.
And so I'll write my notes and how I felt, what I was thinking about, and then, like, just be done with it. And then, like, at the end of the month, I'm like, "Oh, what are other people doing?" And I'll kinda look, at everything, but I try not to follow, like, professional runners or, like, runners who are, like,
Yeah.
even in the 230s, 240s, because I'm like, "Oh, I should do that to get there." And I'm like, "I'm probably never even gonna get there, so why am I even trying? Like, why am I doing that to myself?"
Yeah,
So
no, I get that for sure.
yeah.
I would the only time I get on Strava during the week is when a buddy tells me they had a really solid run to check it out. And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you can't just send me the stats." And they're like, "No," because they know I don't wanna go on Strava, so they make me go to Strava to look at their run. But no, I would say jumping off Strava has done wonders for me. Uh, I've joked about going back on Strava here recently with my buddies, and they were so excited, and I told them I was just playing, and they got mad.
Hey, April Fools. Yeah. Well, cool. So, and then, obviously running, like with running it's a long game. Like you don't get to where you think you can be at the very beginning. Like you'll do your first one just to see kind of where you are as far as potential, but it takes a while to get to where you want to be. So, what have you learned about like balancing like ambition with patience whenever it comes to chasing goals?
It sounds cliche, but it's just trust the process, just trust it. Um, what I do for myself when it comes to the beginning of a block, I try not to set like that PR number,
Yeah.
that that number that you're trying to chase that you have no reason to actually shoot for at the moment. Um, I don't get a feel for what I'm gonna shoot for a race until I probably say about the month before,
Yeah.
right before taper and that's when I sit down, like, look at these runs, like, all right, this run was on track. If I would have just added 6 more miles to this 20-mile run, I was already on 230 track. I was on 229 track, 232. And I sit down with coach and then we map it out from there. I would say it's best to go into a training block kind of blind as far as like your goal.
Yeah.
Now, in the back of your head, every runner still has that goal, but I wouldn't be so hard set on it at the beginning of a block.
Right.
Don't do that. Be open minded and let your fitness guide you.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah. No, for sure. I both of my last 2 marathons, I've been, like, very all I was say all but one of my marathons have been very goal heavy, and it's like, you
Same.
you go in and you hit like, you have a goal at the beginning of the build, and it's like, for my first 2 after my first, I was trying to break 4 hours because I was like, "I'm fit enough to break 4 hours, like, let's do it." And first one I did 4:25, and I was like, it's because I didn't fuel, but, like, at the end of it, I was, like, so mad at myself, and I was like,
Yep.
I'm so bummed, and then, went to try again the next year, and I got 4:17, which is still a PR at the time,
Yeah.
and I was, like, super bummed, and my dad was like, "Yeah, but, like, you shaved, like, almost 10 minutes off of your time, like, you shouldn't be bummed, that's good." And I'm like, "Yeah," and he had to kinda talk me down, and then finally broke it, last July at 3:50, and then I was like,
There we
"Alright,
go.
I'm gonna break 3:40 now," and then I ran 3:52 at Austin, and I'm like, "Oh," but, like, it's just the day, so
So I would say it's hard to take them off in like big chunks like that. I will
Yeah,
say when you're starting to make your trend forward, when you're starting to make your real gains, like you will knock off some time like real quick. Like I went from 258, they ran 246. Like, oh crap, like this is getting me coming like easy. I think this is so easy now. I'm just it no, it becomes like a 30-second PR or a minute
yeah,
PR. You're like, I did all this for that. But to go back to your point, even though you missed and you were mad, uh I hate to break I'm the same way even when I do make it. So, my wife was like, "Oh, you ran a great race." I'm like, "Yeah, I left like 2 minutes out there. I should've been 2 minutes faster. My PR
yep,
should've been more." So I don't think good or bad, I don't think it's ever gonna be broken, to be honest. You're still gonna be in that habit.
yeah, always chasing.
Yep.
Yep. Well, cool. So, and the next thing I wanted to go into, I wanted to go a little bit into what we unfortunately relate to on.
Mhm.
You had lost your mom. I think it was back in was it 2024 when she passed?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my mom just passed back in January of cancer, and I was that's one of the reasons I reached out to you because I had heard your episode on Christian Warwick's podcast, and I was like, man, his what he said on that episode really got me, you know, through some things, and has been getting me through some things these first few months. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about, why you continue to share your story about that, and what gave you the courage to share that story on Instagram.
Yeah, so with me, like, my mom, she was a go-getter. She was an Army vet, and
Mm.
I never knew my mom not to be in pain. So, from her time being in the Army, she was 100% disabled. She was
Oh,
a
man.
disabled veteran, so she was always a bit in pain. There was times that we would talk, and she was like she would think about getting her leg amputated just because of how much pain and how many surgeries that she had on her leg. She had a chair that would literally bring her up and down the stairs. She had to sleep in a medical grade bed, couldn't even sleep in, like, a regular bed toward the end of her lifetime with my dad. So but she kept going. She never gave up the fact that she wanted to walk on her own 2 legs, when things got hard, never complained about the surgeries, never complained about the chair taking her up and down the stairs, and if she could do that, I can run 26 miles. That's how I look at it. Like, my life is not that hard. She's living with this every day. I only have to run this 26 miles this one time, this one day of the month, while she's over here living in pain.
Yeah.
And then what she went through. So, a little backstory. I went to the Berlin Marathon in 2023 in September. That was actually like the last full time that we had like the family together. We had like a send off for me. We had like a family dinner here at the house. We took some pictures, and then next week I was in Berlin. Came back, uh, brought some chocolates and things like that because she just spent a lot of time in Germany when she was in the army. So she
Oh,
always talks about the chocolate and everything. Uh, and I remember we went over there the last Saturday, the end of the month of September, drop our stuff off. And if you know me, you know Sundays I don't like to do anything. I don't want to do anything. And I was already tired from the travel from the week before. So and it was Saturday. I wanted to get home, watch college football. So we picked up the kids, and then uh she was always real big on giving her hugs and kisses. I was already in the car. I was ready to go. Just do, grab stuff, let's go, get the kids. And she said, I don't get no hug. I said, I got you next time. And that one moment is legit. Though that's the legit worst decision I've ever made in my life. That was the
mhm.
worst decision I ever made in my life. Because the next day, that Sunday, October 1st, I got the call that everything happened and she was rushed to the hospital and they had to pretty much remove half her skull because the brain bleed was massive. Um, and after that, she was never the same. But she was alive, but she wasn't living. So she fought hard
Mhm.
from October 2023 to March of 2024. And just seeing that fight alone, I was like, eh, she sh- she should have been dead on day one.
No,
But
yeah.
she fought. We went to every therapy session. I was there for every single therapy session. I was there for every single doctor appointment. Didn't miss anything. And I saw her grow, even though she still was the whole left side of her body was not working. Still couldn't really talk, but I could tell on facial gestures she was getting better. It was going to be a slow process. Um, and and then just went downhill real quick after. And uh, it's it was crazy. It was crazy how quick it turned. That before she passed in March of 2024. So what makes me feel comfortable about it is because like I know how my mom was, and like we
Right.
have our inside jokes. We'd be able to be real with each other, and like just like with the running 26 mile, like she fought. Like I said, I've said it several times already. She fought, so I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah.
Mine's just gonna look differently, and that's what makes me comfortable because I know she was a fighter, so I'm okay with sharing her story.
Yeah. I, yeah, I can definitely relate to that. My mom was she grew up in a pretty rough home life,
Mhm.
and but she was always tough as nails when it came to like standing up for herself, and then and in sports, she was a big basketball player in high
Okay.
school, and I think she played NCAA for Midwestern. It was Division II at the time.
Mhm.
Or actually, maybe Division III at the time, but she played a little bit of college ball, and then got into running in the '90s. And when she got into running, it was like that was like her thing, like she was pushing and pushing, and she broke 4 hours in the marathon at Chicago back in the '90s, and then qualified for Boston 2 years after we were born, and ran Boston in 1998, and then again in '03. And
That's
like,
dope.
yeah, she was kind of my inspiration as far as what got me into running. And when when her cancer like really got bad in 20 it was 2018 is when it got like really rough,
Mhm.
and she was fighting it, and she was going through chemo, and while going through chemo she trained for a half marathon. And
Yeah, she a bad girl.
yeah, and
Dang.
so I was like, you know, I was so I trained for a half after that because I was like, man, like, you know, she's got fight in her. I have to have fight in me. And then when she like after she it went into remission at that point in time, she went and hiked the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim, and it came back. And then she fought it again with radiation. And then after that, she's trained to cycle 100 miles, no, 100 miles a day from Houston to New Orleans in the span of a week. And then it came back again.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
like, and she just kept, pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think the one moment that kind of like, you know, at the very end, she was, it was really bad. It was around Thanksgiving, and she was on like a ton of medicine, couldn't get out of her
Mhm.
chair really. Um, but then all the family got to the house, and she like perked up, and like her energy just like, went like that.
Yeah.
And we ended up playing 2 hours worth of pickleball in her front yard, and she beat everybody. And like, this is like,
Dude,
yeah,
she was
this
on a
was like,
different she was a cheat code, man. She's a different
yeah.
level.
And she that was 2 months after before she passed. And, just and she was so, like, out of it with the medications,
Mhm.
and so she didn't know, like, what the score was, what anything, so she would just, like, hit the point, and she's like, "Alright, what's going on?" And she was it's like, "Alright, it's your turn." She's like, "Okay." And, like,
When
she
when you can
so,
dominate when you can dominate without knowing what's going on, you're at next level. So,
yeah. Yeah. And so that was for me, like, with running, like, running is in the grand scheme of what they've gone through, running isn't that hard. Like, it's just
right?
like, you know, it's kind of like I had a guest on a couple or last week, and she was like, we get to do this. Like, we get to choose what we suffer, and they didn't get to
Mhm.
choose that. And, I think that was a really inspiring thing when I heard that because I'm like, exactly. Like, we're doing this in honor of what they can't do anymore.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and, it always pops up, like, when I'm in the middle of, like, a stupid hard workout, and I'm, in quotes, "dying," and I can't breathe, I'm like, "Nah, this I'm not dying." Uh, and I always have to remind myself that, but, I love that quote.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And so you've also talked about prior in previous podcasts that grief, like running kind of gives you a space to process your grief.
Mhm.
Um when you're in that space and when you're running, what does that look like? How does that process kind of play out?
Yeah, so with me, I have a morning group here, and we run together almost all the time. Besides when our schedules mix up, like when I have to hit the road early, I run super early, or that someone else has the same thing, they run super early.
Mhm.
But like, I wouldn't say my mood, but like when anniversary time comes around, her passing, or I need to be a little solo, I'll run solo. And I've said this before, and sometimes those are my best runs. Like I love my friends, I love my guys. Sometimes I just need to talk to my mom. And
Yeah.
when I'm running those 5 a.m. mornings, I'm legit like talking out loud to her. Like we're
Yeah.
laughing, I'm talking. And like if you had a Ring doorbell that could probably pick up my conversation, like, what is this dude doing? Running in the neighborhood talking out loud. Is he like on drugs? Does he need help? No, I'm just talking to my mom. So when I really need a moment and I'm really down in the dumps, I'll like, all right, guys, I'm not joining tomorrow. And they know for the most part what it is if that's the case. So with me, that's my way of dealing with it. I'll just run solo and I'll just be
Yeah.
talking out loud. And
Yeah.
and then I'll come back and then I'll usually look at a few pictures of her and text her. I still text her every day. I actually have an alarm clock because my mom's super big on "Good night, I love you" texts, like,
Mhm.
every single day, and it was like, even, like, she was, like, on before everything happened, she was on, like, pain medication here and there. Sometimes she'd have to take it, it would make her fall asleep early, so if she knew she was gonna fall asleep early, she'd send it at, like, 5 p.m. because that was her making sure that she said it every night. Uh, it it was bad because on Tuesdays, she knew I had practice, at like 5:30, and I'd have like 2 or 3 texts saying, "Good night, I love you. Good night, I love you. Good night." I should just continue saying it until I say it back.
Yeah.
And, now I feel like her because I'm not getting a text back, and
Yeah.
that part stings. And you know, I text her every day, and then sometimes, like before Boston, I text her a freaking novel.
Yeah.
Then after the race, I'll text her a novel or her birthday. I'll talk to her about spending time with her mom and dad because they passed away, obviously, and I hope she has fun with her family up there. So, I mean, it sucks because since the phones, I still pay for the line because I
Mhm.
don't want it to ever go away. I don't think the phone's charged or anything because the texts are all green. But there's it might be stupid, but you know, um, I always wish just a little bit that I'm gonna get a text back.
Yeah.
That text is never gonna come.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
No, you're good.
yeah, I text her every day with a little bit of hope. I might get a text back, but it's not gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah, I totally understand. Like um, there have been moments where I've texted my mom. She left us, some, um, like some money, but when she passed, and
Yeah,
it was enough to cover like a brand new car for my wife, and we
nice.
were yeah, and we were like, I was like, we got to get something that's like quintessentially mom. We got a Subaru Outback, brand new Subaru Outback because she had a Subaru Crosstrek, and
Okay.
I was like, we got to get something that feels like her, and like we were just driving in it, and I was like starting to tear up, and I texted her, and I was like, this is you, like I feel you in this car
I
like
love
every
that.
day, yeah, and of course, no text back, but it was just kind of like you know, like, I'm glad I sent it, and, like, today's her
Yeah.
birthday, so,
Oh,
on a
man.
Richard
Hey, happy
Burden.
birthday to moms, man. Happy
Yeah,
birthday to her. It's
she
a
would have
great
been
week too. Mother's Day weekend too.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah, she would have been 61 today, and, um, last year we did a 30-60 blowout together because I
Yeah.
she had one when she was 30, and so, we had, like, a 30-60 bash this time last year. She was healthy as a horse, and, like, literally a year later, she's gone, so it's like, you
Man,
know
that's so crazy because my mom passed. My mom made it to her 60th birthday too. We had a big one.
Mm,
And that that was yeah, mine was 32. So that's
yeah.
ironic. And then their anniversary, my parents' anniversary is actually this weekend as well for Mother's
Oh,
Day.
wow.
So,
Happy anniversary to
uh,
your mom.
yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
That's so crazy.
yeah. So, but, what you were also saying about the running in grief, I I've talked to my mom as well on my runs, and, there was the first time that I did it because it felt weird at first because I was
Yeah,
like,
it
"I
did.
don't" yeah, and, like, I spoke with a therapist, and, he said, like, try to carve out some time to, like, talk to mom.
Yeah.
And so I did it on one of my runs, and I, like, said something, and then I heard her say something back, and then I kinda got mad at what I heard her say, and I was like, like, you say to do this and be this way, but, like, you weren't this way growing up when I was growing up sometimes, and you were
Mhm.
really, like, you know, you'd be really angry, and you wouldn't show up for yourself, and, like, it was, like, a real, like, healing moment because I heard her say back, like, like, it's I was not perfect, but, like, I still tried to show up every day and, like, you know, put my like, lean on my faith, and, like, now I'm rewarded. And,
Mhm.
like, when I was just having that conversation, I was, like, started, like, crying, and I was like, "Oh," like, can't finish this run, but, like, ever since then, it's just
No,
it's more of
I've
a
had
I'll
some
take the
runs.
celebration. Yeah.
I've had some runs definitely where you start talking and you're like, "Man, I don't even know why I did that because now I'm tearing up."
Yeah, but it's so healing though. Like it really is something that
Yeah.
like it's life-giving almost.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then was there ever a time like, was there a moment for you during your runs where you did feel like, this is a healthy moment just like that? Was there ever a time where you're like, "This is a great place to process?"
Yeah, I mean, those examples I shared, those are pretty much what I had to say about that.
Yeah.
Because I don't do them so often,
Right.
so it's kinda like they, like, bottle up and they let it all out in a run,
Mhm.
and it's not like no when I mean let it all out, it's not, like, bad or anything, but it's just, like, I don't do it all the time. I think I do it just enough, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So I think what I do when I do it and the way I do it, it's perfect for me.
Yeah.
Somebody might need to talk to the mom every single day doing that. Me, I keep it going, and every month or so, I have a solo run where it's just like I'm talking to her. I talk to her a lot during the races. Like, if
Yeah.
I'm starting to die in a race, I'm like, show me a sign, like show me something, and it it really works. Like I don't know, I feel like I
Yeah.
get an extra boost every time I start leaning on her a lot in the race. So I'm like, if I
Yeah.
continue to do it, it's my guardian angel now. So she got to take me
Mhm.
to the promised land.
Definitely. Cool, and then, so for people who are going through this, right, and, like, who just lost someone special to them and are trying to start life after them, and maybe feeling like they can't get out the door, can't take the next step, what would be the advice that you would give to them?
That's so crazy that you say that because one of my good running buddies, and he's like an older brother to me. I I look up to him. He's a really great guy. His dad, right before Boston, got put into hospice, and then as
Oh,
soon as the race was over, his wife said, "You need to head home. You need might wanna cut your trip a little early after the race because I don't know if he's gonna make it." He made it until he got home, and then he
yeah,
passed later that week. Uh, and he knew everything from me, so he been texting me, stuff like that. The first thing I would say, um, they're in a better place. Uh their fight is over. It's
yeah,
time for you to pick up where they left off. Um, and that's why I sat at my mom's funeral. I told her, "You can rest now. Uh, like you no longer have to fight. It's all on my shoulders now. I'll do it for you, and I
yeah,
don't have a problem doing it." So I would say honor them as best as you can. Uh, make them proud while making yourself proud and others around you.
mhm,
But at the end of the day, they're irreplaceable. But keep moving forward because definitely your parent, but in general, your loved one, they're not gonna want you to be hung up on that. They're gonna want
no,
you to live life. My mom,
yeah,
if I was sitting around moping and I get my mom would be on my but I she would tell me to get up like the day like for the week she passed on a Wednesday. I had a race that Saturday.
yeah,
People were like, "You gonna still race it?" I was like, "My mom would kick my ass if I didn't race." Like,
yeah,
she'd be like, "Why are you missing this race?" Like, so I would say, do what you think they would want you to do. Don't
yeah,
do don't do the opposite because you think that it is like the right thing to do. Like the people will look at that and be like, why does he shouldn't race? Like my buddy whose dad just died, what did he do? He just raced the Indy Mini last week and had 2 minute
oh, wow,
PR.
that's awesome.
On the dad, yeah, his dad died that Thursday. Then they had a funeral last Saturday, which was the same
Yeah,
day as the Indy Mini. He got a PR, went to the funeral.
yeah,
There's
'cause
nothing wrong with that. You
no,
gotta
it's
live your
probably life-giving for him.
yes, you gotta live the life his dad would have wanted him to do that.
Yes,
So,
100%.
that his dad would not want him at home moping after the bad race they ran in Boston that I've been giving
Yeah,
a crap about.
yeah,
Instead he got 2 minute PR. Same thing with my mom. When she died on that Wednesday, that Saturday, I also had a 2 minute PR in the half marathon, and it felt like I ran a faster half marathon 3 or 4 times since then, but man, I'm telling you, I didn't feel one bit of tired. I felt like I was a new person. It was just like, I don't know, because my mom went through so much. Not only did I feel like she was there with me, because in a way that was her first race she ever got to see me run. Because she
yeah,
couldn't stand at the finish lines or do anything that, so she never got to see me run. Uh, when I started my running journey, so it was cool for her to see me run for the first time. But like I just had this energy. I didn't feel like I used anything. It is
Mhm.
great. I just think if you're going through this, do what you can do to make them happy as well as yourself, and don't do what the outside world would think is the right thing to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
Don't
yeah.
skip things that your parents or your loved ones would have wanted you to do. If you wanna go take that trip to Disney World, go take that trip to Disney World.
Yeah. No, I had a very similar situation. So the day before my mom died, she was on hospice and she couldn't move, she couldn't talk. All she was doing was breathing. And she can move her eyes, a little bit, but that was about it. And we were talking in her room, me and her friends, and I was like, we should do like a 5K, you know, the morning of her funeral, like host a 5K at the park because that's what she would want. Like she
Yeah,
would want like a celebration, us doing something hard together, that would be exactly what she wanted. And when I said that, she like almost lifted her body up. Like it was like she like kind of sat up a little bit and her eyes got wide and she was like looking right at me and they're like, "Oh, she's looking at you." So I walked over there and kind of like put my hand on her and I was like, "Hey, like, how you doing?" And she like forced a smile and I was like, "Y'all, we're doing that 5K." I was like, "That's
dude, that
exactly, like
that's that's awesome because that's kinda reminds me of my mom. So,
yeah.
my mom loved Pepsi. She loved drink Pepsi, and, we had just decided to pull the it was time to pull the plug, let it go,
Yeah.
and no BS. We started talking about how after this, we gonna go to the cafeteria at the hospital and drink a Pepsi. Anybody knows me, I'm not a pop guy. I don't drink pop. It's either water, coffee, protein shake. Water, coffee, protein shake. And we started talking about Pepsi as the plug is pulled, and I swear, she came alive a little bit. Uh, we all noticed it. The heartbeat went up a little bit, and then after that, it was the final goodbyes. But
Yeah.
that as soon as we brought up Pepsi and drinking it for her, it definitely happened. So I feel that.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, it's just when you see that, you gotta do it. Like, it was
Yeah.
just like, that's the cue to keep moving on, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
keep chasing things that she would have chased, you know?
Yep.
So, yeah. Well, cool. Well, going into a more of a lighter note and away from all of that, so back to running. So, what is on your kinda, schedule right now? What are you, excited for to race?
Yeah, so, I didn't I had this fitness that I built up for the spring, and I didn't put that pressure on me to, like, necessarily go for PR in Boston. And since I still have that fitness and I lucked out with Carmel being canceled here, and it also got canceled last year, but I was actually signed up for it. I'm actually jumping into that race. So I have a marathon here in about 23 days.
Oh, wow.
hopefully I hopefully I get back up to speed pretty quickly. I'm pretty good at doing the double marathon. I like that. I like that quick turnaround. I usually I usually PR when I usually PR every time on the double. So we'll see. It's a little bit different when you're trying to go for sub 230. But outside of that, there's a mile race that I got coming up in June.
Oh,
But
cool.
there's a little that's a little messed up now for doing the marathon. Trying to switch gears from marathon to mile. I don't know if I have that much time, so I'm not gonna put pressure on myself to PR that. I'm just gonna run the mile, uh, get the sub 5 and call it a day. See what happens.
Sub
But
5,
really,
heck yeah.
yeah, my biggest race this year, the one that you actually put your pressure on is like monumental. It's the best race in the US. All right. Non-major. You gotta run the Monumental Marathon in Indy. Putting it out there. It's a great course, a fast course, flat. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna regret it, but you usually don't have to worry about weather. All right. It's gonna be cool.
You
And
are
you're
gonna
gonna be able,
regret that.
yeah, you're gonna be able to fly. So that's the one I'm really gearing up for. I really, really want a big one. I want to let me race this carbon one. Then I can really put a time on that monumental one. But it's gonna be a good day. I hope.
Yeah.
What about you?
Cool. So I just did a really big kind of milestone that I've been chasing for a while. I've been wanting to break 20 minutes in the 5K. It's been something I've been chasing for like 3 years,
Hmm.
and I did it I tried it 2 weekends ago, and the course got messed up. So they led 90% of the runners off course at like one of the crucial turns at the beginning.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
yeah, and so like I had to like switch gears and get back on track. And then my shoe came untied in the last like quarter mile.
Oh
And
no.
I was like, so I ran 2011 at that race. And I was like, okay. I was like, if I can run a 2011 with all that, I can run a sub 20. So the next weekend, I lined up at a start line, like at a town half an hour away, and
Mhm.
ran 1949. So I was
I
like,
saw that.
yeah, I was pretty stoked. I was like, that
Dude,
was heck of a day.
I I absolutely hate the 5K. That is the word. That's the one I do
Word.
not like at all. Um, Ironically, I ran my second fastest 5K, a workout right before Boston. It was like a 16:12 or 11, and I was like, man, I didn't even feel like I was pushing hard. And coach was like, yeah, I think you're gonna be more of a consistent sub 16 guy, because I broke sub 16 last year in my build to Chicago. I mean, I had a great build in Chicago. That got sidelined due to a sciatic problem, which,
Yeah.
okay, was the running and driving, running and driving.
Yeah.
I fixed that problem, hopefully, but 5K is just not my cup of tea, man. More power
No.
to you.
I like a mile better because it's like it burns like a 5K, but it's short. It's like
Yep.
5 minutes, like
Yeah. 5K, I hate. 10K, you can't even get me to sign up for. You're asking me to do the 5K, but
yeah,
longer.
yeah,
There's no give.
no. And then my big A goal race I'd say for this year is the Fort Worth Marathon in November.
Okay.
In So there's two marathons in Fort Worth. One is Cowtown in February, like late February, early March, and that's like the big one here. And then the Fort Worth Marathon is kind of more of like a down home feel
Mhm.
marathon. And I paced the half with my brother to get him to a PR a couple years ago. I was like, "Oh, I love this race because it's flat."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to get a sub 3. I'm saying sub 3:30, but of course, like that'd be pretty ambitious, um,
Okay.
but we'll see. So I got, I guess, like 27 weeks before that race. So I got a lot of long ways to train, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
So no summer races then, right?
Mm, no.
Yeah,
I'm kind
I don't do much in the summer either. It's
Yeah.
5K stuff, but like I said, I don't really race that many. I might do like 2. But
Yeah.
what I do like to do, it's a deadly combination because I know a bunch of my teammates do go right into 5Ks. I do 5K a mile work, but while
Hmm.
I keep my marathon mileage.
Okay.
Um, it's a deadly combo, but
Yeah.
it can definitely make you fast in the
Yeah.
marathon.
That's kind of
And
what
I'm looking forward to doing it again this summer.
Yeah. That's kinda what Eric Floberg did this past winter.
Yeah,
He was, like, high intensity, like, in his speed work, so I guess it works, but
I've ironically been in like 2 of his videos. I end up being in I was in a Chicago one, and then he had one for Carmel when he did the Carmel Marathon years ago. I was in that as well. So
that's
I was
funny.
almost in his Boston one. I was like literally right behind him. But
Oh, that's hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool. My last question is, so outside of, like, pacing, outside of, like, PRs, what makes you feel like you're kind of in an exciting time, in running right now for yourself? What makes you feel like you're in a good space in the sport?
What makes me in a good space, honestly, man, I just got a good handle on life. Like my wife keeps me humbled. The kids keep me going. I'm not relying on having to have a good run. I think that makes you run better. Like I don't need a good run to make me happy. I'm just gonna get the good run by doing what I do at home, and pleasing the wife and the kids. But when it comes to the running aspect of things, like I've improved my diet. We haven't touched on this, but yeah, I do still have an eating disorder. It's gotten better. I've increased my calories by 1,500, uh, which has really made a difference. I noticed it at the end of my Boston block. So if
Yeah.
I can increase it another 700 calories to like 2,200 calories more than what I was doing, I'm excited for the fall. I think I'm gonna have a big fall. I just gotta get the eating right, which I've done, and I've done a really good job listening to my body. So those 2 things, running wise, are making me really excited for a big fall.
Yeah. Okay. So I didn't want to I didn't want to bring that up because I knew I was bringing something up super heavy with the
Oh
running,
yeah.
but yeah, or with your mom. But yeah, I heard on I thought you were doing kind of a series with Christian Warwick on his podcast leading up to Boston, and you said you had increased your calories and had
Yeah.
gotten to like feeling a lot better in your work day. So I was like,
Hmm.
I was super stoked to see what you did at Boston, and then you got a course PR, so that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I was dealing with some reds. Like I legit, I slept. I was like, easy runs felt hard. Everything felt hard. Sleeping, it's like taking your phone with a charger when you wake up, and it goes from 100 to 60% right away. Like
Yeah.
nothing was working, and I was like looking at the symptoms, and I was like, man, this gotta be right. It's like I'm not proud of it, but like before I started increasing my diet, I was like anywhere from like 12 to like 1,400 calories. I burned that in the morning run. Like my morning run is that many calories.
Yeah.
And I was really low on carbs. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say I was not keto, but, like, I actually love carbs, but I was afraid to go back to my old self. I ate too much because my old self, a little chunkier side of me, I could eat I could eat pizza, I could eat bagels all freaking day, but also that makes you blow up. But now my diet, some of the things that I've, incorporated to increase that, I do eat 3 bagels a day, eat
All right.
3 big spoons of peanut butter, 'cause I had no fat in my diet either, so it was just lean protein and protein shakes and some freaking goldfish and some fruit snacks just to get some carbs, which aren't much carbs at all. Uh, so those are just some of the examples. I made my portions bigger as far as, like, my, grilled chicken and my turkey. So right now, I'm sitting around roughly, uh, 25 to 2,800 calories a day. It's
Mhm.
not a lot, for what I do, but it's more than what I was at.
Yeah, yeah.
When you're so low like I was, I can't just jump up to 4,000. It's just not gonna happen. So, I jumped from ballpark 12 to 1,400, like I said, to 25 to 28 given a day. I doubled my calories right there. That's
That's
a
awesome.
lot to do. Now the next step is by the summer, I'd like to get at least 35.
Yeah.
If I can get to 35, I feel like I'm in a really solid, healthy spot, and I think
Heck
that's
yeah.
gonna lead to a big November.
Yeah. That's awesome. This made me think of this. I had, I don't know if you know who Gabby Hinton is.
Mhm.
She's a big runner, up and coming marathoner. She was on a couple of weeks ago, and she said, you know, like eating disorder, like you kind of have to treat it like she's like, I treat it like an injury, right? So like if you injure like your leg or something, you're going to be dealing with leg pain for the rest of your life, and you're
Yeah.
going to have to ease back into things that you do. It's like it's just kind of like your eating disorder, because she had an eating disorder. Is like it's kind of like
Mhm.
that where um you can't just like try to fully fix it in one day, and like you're trying
Yeah,
to
you can't.
eat 2,500 calories today and like going from 1,000, you know, immediately like that. It's you got to kind of ease into it, and then like know in your head like you're still going to deal with problems as you go, because like you're still
Yeah.
it's going to be with you at all times. And
I was lucky I didn't deal with any stress fractures with how much I run and the low amount of calories. Now I would say, do my deep sleep, my HRVs have all increased. My I'm not as achy, but I'm still achy. I mean, you're gonna be achy running 100-mile weeks. Anybody that says they run 100-mile weeks and not achy, more power to them. Or they're probably a pro. They don't have to like work, but
yeah,
their work is running, so I give them that. But if I could take a nap every day, I would love to. I just can't do it. So
yeah,
that's
not
just my
feasible.
life.
Yeah, it's like I'd love a nap every day, but it's just not feasible.
Boy,
Yeah,
like when it comes to Friday, I'm like by 7 o'clock, I could probably go to sleep by 7 o'clock every Friday. And like I said,
yeah,
I'm about to go to this gala, and I'm about to be knocked down on the
yeah.
table probably within 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't envy the gala. I was like, that's gonna be a hard night, especially you're in your 30s, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, 30-year-olds trying to marathon train and go to like late night things, like we
yeah,
can't do
and
it. What are we doing?
I got a pretty solid long run tomorrow too. It's first long run back from Boston, but like I said, we don't have much time, so we got it ramped up for Carmel. So it's heavy tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll see how it
What are you doing?
goes.
What are you doing?
Oh man, you know what? Let me read it off to you. I got
All
it.
right.
He changed it up because he wanted less miles at marathon pace, which is cool, but he wanted some overall. Uh, he didn't want any like float miles.
Uh-huh.
So let's see. So tomorrow I got 2 mile warm up, and then I got 5 miles at 6:30 pace, which is fine. 3 miles at 6 minute pace. Um, and then also got 3 miles at fastest marathon target pace you would admit out loud. He said somebody.
I
And
like
then
that.
yeah. Oh, so yeah, I skipped one. So 6:30 at 5 miles, 5 miles at 6:15, and 3 miles at 6. And then I'll probably trickle down between 3 miles between 5:35 to even though I probably shouldn't go that fast. So I probably won't. But I don't know. I might be too aggressive because it's the first
Yeah.
workout back. My legs are a little fresh compared to what I'm usually at coming into. Because usually going into a Saturday run, I'm like 85 miles into the week. This time I'm only 70. There's a big difference. Uh,
Yes.
so I'm gonna try to be more realistic and keep it between 540 and 555 for those last three because I know I can do some 540. Um, so we'll see how it goes. I'll hit you up
Awesome.
on Instagram about it. You'll see it.
Yeah. Yeah, let me know because that sounds like one heck of a workout after a long night. So
Yeah.
hopefully
And
you
the
can get
goal
some
is
sleep.
And the goal is no stoppage time, and I'm practicing like a carb drink mix too. So hopefully that's okay with the stomach, because I do get bottle service at the Carmel Marathon. So it's my
Mhm.
first time getting that. Uh, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not used to drinking a carb mix at all, let alone while running hard. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I might be in the porta potty a lot.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, good luck and thank you again so much for coming on. Hope you can get away from that gala pretty soon tonight to get to bed
Oh yeah.
early and yeah. And I appreciate your time.
No, thank you, man. I thank you for having me. I love hearing your story. And then once again, happy birthday to your mom.
Thank you so much. And that was my conversation with Robert Jackson. Thank you guys so much for coming today and taking your time to listen to this episode. Obviously, he and I have something very unfortunate in common. We both lost our moms to really unfortunate medical issues, and our moms were so much our best friends and meant so much to us. And so it was good to kind of share our experiences together and talk a little bit about how we're processing. Especially, yesterday was Mother's Day, May 10th, and so it was a healing episode for sure for me, and I hope for him as well. And I definitely feel like I made a friend out of this conversation. If you liked this or know somebody who is also struggling with grief in the loss of a loved one, please share it with them, and hopefully they can learn a little bit, some information, some wisdom, and get something from it. I really hope this helps someone who needs it today. Thank you so much, and I will see y'all on the next one.